So, last week I promised you Project X Insanity, but instead, I'm bringing you some actual hobby content. Because, I'm nothing if not inconsistent. Or, maybe we should say consistently inconsistent. Thank you very much. Greetings, good humans, and welcome to Tabletop Alchemy, where sometimes we actually paint a miniature. Or in this case, we repaint a miniature several times. And we thank our patrons for supporting this exercise in tackling at least one of the various items in the Pile of Opportunity Halfway Done edition. I have a halfway house for some of my unfinished projects. So do you, don't laugh. I know you do. Now, the reason you get some actual hobby content today is that we finally got a chance to play another Rangers of Shadow Deep scenario. Actually, 2 scenarios, with my full group of Rangers compatriots. Now, it took us 4 months to schedule a game day, and we all got back into it, and it was very fun. We had beer, we had snacks, we had shabu-shabu at the end of it. In fact, I should show you this piece of excellent artwork that my buddy Beamel made for us all when we started to riff on the name, and we are now called the Rangers of Shabu Deep. What? You don't know what shabu-shabu is? You're missing out, man. Come on. You pull up your Google Maps, punch in shabu-shabu, find a place, and go try some. It's Japanese for swish swish. Anyway, back to the, actual content of the video. We actually had so much fun, we always have fun when we have game days. We kind of determined to set up the next game day, so we have it set up for about 4 weeks from now. Next month, I guess basically playing 1 day a month is about all we can handle as a disparate group of 6 adults doing adult things. We're lucky if we can find 1 week in a month, right? Anyway, it's going to be great whenever we get to play next. And then after this next scenario, it's going to be a fun one, and now I'm going to I have some terrain for that already, but after that scenario, we're going to embark on the big capstone mission of the main rulebook, which is called Burning Light. And the bottom line for that is, it's actually good news for this channel. I've got a lot of terrain to make, big rooms and stuff, so I'm going to have to make more walls, which is always, it's always an exciting thing to do, especially on video. But I'm also going to need, for at least one of the scenarios in that mission, a guaranteed scenario in that mission, I'm going to need a Winged Terror, which is one of the coolest monsters in the main rulebook. I believe it's called a Winged Terror. Let me confirm that with my book right here. I don't need Google. I can look stuff up on my own. Oh, I have the page marked right here. There goes my bookmark. I've only got 17 bookmarks in here for different pages. It is called the Terror Wing. So I was wrong, but I corrected myself and now I'm right. So I need a Terror Wing miniature, and it just happens that I happen to have a great miniature that would be great for this. It's just that it's just been half painted and multiply repainted and just shoved off in the corner of the, half done pile of nonsense. So we're going to pull it out of the slot pile and we're going to fix it. And I think my friends are all going to have fun seeing this thing drop onto the table in front of their puny ranger figures. Now, I know we've all got piles of opportunity and we've all got piles of halfway done, unfinished nonsense somewhere on our shelves or our closets or, under the bed somewhere where we can't see them. Actually, some of you probably have some of these miscreants piled up on your hobby desk, staring you right in the face, mocking you right now. It's time to wipe them smug smiles off their little miniature faces. Here's mine, and I'm just going to finish it. I don't care what the end result is like, I just want it to be done. Because done is better than unfinished greatness. That's what I'm telling myself anyway, and I'm sticking to it. So this figure is a white metal miniature from the War Machine Hordes game. It's one of their older minis. I don't remember exactly what this model is called. I don't even remember what faction it's from. And I'm pretty sure it's out of production right now anyway. But if I do remember to look it up, or if I'm able to find it, the name of it, I'll put it down in the description below. But, if that description isn't there, that means I couldn't find it. Stop yelling at me. I tried. I swear. As you can see, it's a wonderful example of excellent art, right? Yes. Yeah, it's pretty ugly. Like I said, I've repainted this model, never to completion, but I've repainted the body and armor 2 or 3 times, and the wings have been repainted, I don't know, 3 or 4 times. Again, never to completion. I just could never figure out the right color scheme to do the wings in. Now, the only thing I knew for sure about this whole miniature was the base. I wanted to do one of the lava bases, right? With the glowing lava and the blackened rocks on top. So I put the figure onto this base, which a friend of mine had printed up for me. And it's got this recessed area so I could do like water effects and stuff. So I put this guy on a rock in the middle and then put some debris and some cork and whatever else around the edges. And of course, we got to have, a pile of skulls. And yeah, I wanted to do the lava effect, so I'm going to try it out. Now, obviously here you can see that the wings are 2 different colors. One of them is flat white, which I did with some white ink, and the other has some kind of orangey, pinkish, messy wash on it. And I debated here about whether or not to repaint the other wing in white, and I was like, I don't know, it's kind of tedious. Maybe I can just colorize the white wing and get it close to the orange-pink one. I don't imagine I'm going to be able to match it exactly, but I can probably get it, kind of close. And, it's a chaotic demon. Who cares if we have a little asymmetry between the colors on this thing? Don't pick on his natural skin color deviation. He's just as his God made him. Be nice. Now, I did consider mixing up some orange and pink express colors, but then I saw this demon skin color, which I really haven't used yet, and so I figured I'd try it. What's the worst going to happen? I'd have to repaint it a 7th time. I put down a 50-50 mix of express color and medium and just put it over the wing, and then took a break to rewatch Westworld Season 1. The fit for today. Because it's awesome, and I dig it, and this is my 4th rewatch. Thank you very much. All right, so the demon skin color isn't a perfect match, but it's close enough for golf. Is that the saying? Close enough. Horseshoes. It's close enough for horseshoes, which means it's close enough for me. After I fix my hair in my monitor, stop looking at me doing my private stuff. Get out of here. All right, moving right along, I slapped down some white ink all over the base so that we can have the brightest spots down in the recesses and everything for the yellow that's going to go in there for the lava, so it can be bright. So that's pretty simple to do with this white ink, which is also a Vallejo game color paint, so it's going to work with the same mediums and thinners that the express colors have. Not that it really matters all that much. Now, I still didn't know what color to paint the wings, and I decided to just, make a decision. Oh boy, you're gonna be a winner. I decided to just make a decision and go with it. And I thought, you know what? Let's just make the wings dark. Now, I thought maybe instead of, just heavy black, maybe I'd kind of lean towards a sort of a purplish, like, bend to the dark color. So I mixed up some greasy black and a hefty amount of this purple express color, and I thinned it way out. Probably too much because it isn't covering super well, but, thinning it out, the more you thin it out, the kind of the smoother it goes on, the less like sort of clumpy it goes. So anyway, I could do multiple coats. It's no big deal. I've painted these wings 17 times. I could do them with my eyes closed. And I know that it kind of looks like I did that already. Anyway, while that dries, I put down some yellow game color ink all over the base. And this is just my kind of easy right here. Using inks for speed painting. Super simple. I dig it. Okay, so obviously there was a little bit too much purple in the wing color, so I'm just going to darken all that down with another coat of straight greasy black. Thinned greasy black, but this time without any purple in it. Now, while that black coat is drying, I went in with some orange to dry brush over the yellow to give us that first layer of, superheated rock or, sort of whatever we're trying to build up here. I was trying to mix orange and red, but I realized that the orange paint I had was not super dense as far as pigment goes, and the red was overwhelming it really quickly, so I just kept throwing more orange paint onto my dry brush palette and just kind of went in dabbing and daubing and dry brushing, and I grabbed orange and then some red and just made a mess on the palette as I went, like a real artist. Then I just kept rolling with some black, and I'm using the AK Interactive black as it's a little bit a tiny bit of a sooty black in comparison to other black paints. And as soon as I started putting the black on the rocks, I think everything started working. The black over the top of everything it goes a long way toward hiding that whole McDonald's mustard and ketchup look, right? The rocks and debris are looking charred and kind of cool. Now, there's the matter of this rock that's at the center of the demon's coiled body, snake, torso, whatever. Basically the rock it's sitting on, and I can't really get in there because I painted the demon, and I didn't really do much with that rock when I should have, which was, before painting the actual miniature that's on top of it. So that rock is just kind of staying like it is because I can't really get in there and do a lot of painting without messing up the actual miniature paint work, and I don't want to do that. So I'm moving on. Of course, doing lava like this really makes it feel like the miniature should have some OSL lighting, some object source lighting, because this style of paint job for the lava is itself sort of object source lighting, at least like in flavor, right? So there is like this weird discontinuity when you look at the miniature stuck on this pile of lava, but we're going to ignore that. These are not the droids you're looking for. Look away. Have a donut. To distract you further, we're just going to do a little bit of express color blending, which is always super fun, super quick, super easy. I love anything that is super. It's just some yellow and orange and red express colors on the burning flames that are on this guy's spear, which is like physically larger than my whole torso. And if I was like, in miniature, like in scale, it's a giant chunk of metal that's on fire and it's going to do a lot of damage. So, better get them healing spells ready. I'm talking to my ranger group here because it seems like there's only one of them rangers that comes over to play that seems to be cognizant of the value of healing spells, much to my delight when we roll the dice. Now, I had to paint the rim of this base because the grayness of the rim was messing with me. I just really wanted to see what the overall miniature was going to look like with an actual black base. And the whole thing definitely looks better with the black rim painted. I mean, disregarding the color scheme and all of the other awesome creative choices that everyone who is not me would have made with this paint job. As the dude says, the black rim ties the miniature together. And then I had to put a little bit of AK's Ultra Matte on certain areas. I just brush painted that on. I had to cover some areas that I had put some washes on that became glossy because of the washes. And so a little bit of the Ultra Matte varnish fixes all that stuff. I left the metal alone, and for the final bit, I just added some bright silver touches to some of the metallic edges here and there, some of the raised areas on the armor, just little bits of highlight. And, in retrospect, I probably should have gone back in and put some rust or some other weathering or something onto the armor itself, but that just felt like, to be perfectly frank, too much work. I've got more Westworld to watch. Don't judge me. And so there we go, a reclaimed and repainted miniature from the unfinished junk pile. I'm stoked that this thing is done, finally, and I don't think it looks super terrible. Sure, there are a lot of things I would change about it if I had like 200 more hours, but overall, I'm chalking this up as a win. It's a win for me and for my players because I think it's going to show up on the table and it's going to strike fear into their tiny little miniature hearts. I think. So, pick up one of them unfinished minis you got sitting on your desk staring at you. Pick it up and slap it with some paint. Show it who's boss. See ya.